Thanks to the perfection of wisdom he has thus fully known the inactivity of all dharmas. The cognition which reaches everywhere. Moreover, it is thanks to the perfection of wisdom that the Tathagata's cognition has proceeded in all dharmas as unmade, as though really it has not proceeded, and the proceeding is only a matter convention. In this way the perfection of wisdom is the genetrix of the Tathagata, and instructs him in this world. The cognition that the Buddha can show that which is imperceptible. Subhuti. If all dharmas, O Lord, are unknowable and imperceptible, how can the perfection of wisdom be the genetrix of the Tathagata and his instructress in this world? The Lord. So it is, so it is. All dharmas are unknowable and imperceptible. And why are they so? Because all dharmas are empty, worthless, insignificant, void, and insubstantial. In this way all dharmas are unknowable and imperceptible. Moreover, Subhuti, all dharmas are unknowable and imperceptible because they are unsupported and unincluded. It is thus that the perfection of wisdom is the genetrix of the Tathagata and his instructress in this world. And she is an instructress because form, too. The knowledge of all modes cannot be viewed. It is thus that the perfection of wisdom is the Tathagata's genetrix and his instructress in this world. Subhuti. How does she become the instructress? Through the non-viewing of form. The Lord. Where, Subhuti, there arises an act of consciousness, which has none of the skandhas for an objective support, there she becomes an instructress through a non-viewing of the world. It is thus, Subhuti, that this deep perfection of wisdom is the genetrix of the Tathagata and his instructress in the world. The cognition of the world from the point of view of emptiness. Furthermore, how is the perfection of wisdom the genetrix of the Tathagata and his instructress in the world? Here the perfection of wisdom indicates that the world is empty. And why does she do so? Here in the world the 5 skandhas are empty, the 12 sense fields are empty, too. The knowledge of all modes is empty. It is thus that the perfection of wisdom is the genetrix of the Tathagata and his instructress in this world. Cognition of the fact that the Buddha can indicate the world's emptiness. How does the perfection of wisdom show up the world as empty? Cognition of the fact that the Buddha can make known the world's emptiness. Cognition of the fact he can show up the world's emptiness. She shows up the fact that the world and the 5 skandhas are empty. It is thus that the perfection of wisdom is the Tathagata's genetrix and his instructress in the world. Cognition of unthinkability. Moreover, the perfection of wisdom shows up to the Tathagata the world as unthinkable. How? It shows up that the 5 skandhas are the world which is unthinkable. Moreover, the perfection of wisdom shows up to the Tathagata the world. In other words, the 5 skandhas, as isolated, as absolutely empty, as empty of own being, as empty through the non-existence of own being. Cognition of unthinkability. Moreover, the perfection of wisdom shows up to the Tathagata the world, or the 5 skandhas, as calmly quiet. The cognition of the cessation of the world. Moreover, the perfection of wisdom shows up to the Tathagata the world, or the 5 skandhas, as just emptiness. The cognition of the perception of the world. And again, how does this deep perfection of wisdom show up the world? So that no perception of this world or the other world takes place. And why? Because those dharmas do not exist through which a perception of this world or a perception of the other world could take place. The distinctive marks. Acceptance of cognition of dharma in suffering. Unthinkability. Subhuti. For the sake of a great performance, O Lord, has this perfection of wisdom been set up, for the sake of an unthinkable, incomparable, immeasurable, and equal to the unequaled incalculable performance. The Lord. So it is, Subhuti, so it is. And how has the perfection of wisdom been set up as a great performance? It is a great performance on the part of the Tathagatas that they protect all beings and do not abandon them. And how has the perfection of wisdom been set up as an unthinkable performance? Unthinkable is Buddhahood, Tathagatahood, self-existence, and the state of all knowledge. In this way has the perfection of wisdom been set up for an unthinkable performance on the part of the Tathagatas, the Arhats, the fully enlightened Buddhas. Cognition of Dharma in suffering. Incomparability. And how has the perfection of wisdom been set up for an incomparable performance? There is no being whatsoever among those who are comprehended under the term beings, who would be able to think Buddhahood, Tathagatahood, self-existence, and the state of all knowledge, or to compare it. Acceptance of the subsequent cognition of suffering. Immeasurability. And how has the perfection of wisdom been set up for an immeasurable performance? The Buddhahood, Tathagatahood, self-existence, and state of all knowledge of the Tathagatas is immeasurable, and it cannot be measured by anyone. Subsequent cognition of suffering. Incalculability. And how has the perfection of wisdom been set up for a performance which equals the unequaled? Because nothing can be quite equal to the Tathagatas, the Arhats, the fully enlightened ones, how much less can anything be superior to them? Subhuti. Are then Buddhahood, Tathagatahood, self-existence, and the state of all knowledge unthinkable, incomparable, immeasurable, and equal to the unequaled? The Lord. Yes, they are. So are also form, etc., too. All knowledge. All dharmas in fact are unthinkable, immeasurable, and equal to the unequaled. With regard to the dharmahood of all dharmas, no thought, and no dharmas belonging to thought, can be apprehended. Form also, as unthinkable, cannot be conceived, and so up to the knowledge of all modes. Subhuti. For what reason can form, as unthinkable, not be conceived? The Lord. Because with regard to form, one cannot conceive of the thinking, the comparing, the measuring, the equality or inequality. Subhuti. And for what reason is that so? The Lord. Because also of form, the own being is unthinkable. What do you think, Subhuti, can form be apprehended in what is unthinkable? Subhuti. No, O Lord. The Lord. In that manner all dharmas are unthinkable. And these Tathagata dharmas of the Tathagata are unthinkable. They are unthinkable because thinking has ceased and been transcended, comparing and measuring have ceased and been transcended, equality and inequality have ceased and been transcended. Unthinkable, that is a synonym of incomparable. These Tathagata dharmas of the Tathagata are unthinkable because space is unthinkable, incomparable because space is incomparable. This also is of the Tathagata. The Tathagata unthinkability, incomparability, immeasurability, and equality to the unequaled, which cannot be thought or compared by the world with its gods, men, and asuras. Thus are the Buddhas immeasurable, thus are the Buddha dharmas immeasurable. When this chapter on the Tathagata's unthinkability was being taught, the minds of monks were freed, without further clinging, from the outflows, and so were the minds of 2,000 nuns. 6,000 lay brethren obtained with regard to dharmas the pure, dispassionate, unstained dharma. 20,000 bodhisattvas won the patient acceptance of dharmas which fail to be produced, and the Lord has predicted that they will become Buddhas in this very Bhadrakalpa. End chapter 43. Note. Followers of the Bodhisattva vehicle may get more benefit from listening to the sutras actively by reading along with a peaceful voice, and walking on a treadmill very slowly to avoid drowsiness. Keep this in mind. Wishing or dreaming to do the goodness is the first steps of doing good. It does not matter one can do it or not. It is the same for wishing to become a Buddha. Bodhisattvas are those people who vow to gain enlightenment in order to bring about unchanging happiness for all living beings. And again, it does not matter they can do it or not. Wishing or dreaming to do the goodness becomes stronger, intense than serene faith. By repeating the wish, take it up, bear it in mind, recite, study it, discuss and expound, attend to it wisely.